Hello everyone. Today we gonna start with our new topic, which will be our security and authentication while we are creating our app. Means when we are creating hitting a API from login, then how the actual flows work, how JWT token we used to get from the backend, how we are storing that JWT token, and how we are securing it with our network call with ATS, which is there, and iOS inbuilt security with adding point towards it will be our SSL pinning, and with the help of public keys how we are securing our network so that we can avoid man in the middle attack. And I'll explain you all those things in detail in this video, and then I will explain you how things works. So let's get started. First of all, as in our earlier videos you saw how our API calls usually I I already designed a network layer with protocols and all through protocols for our network layer design, how our network layer used to be designed and all. Now we will add few things for our SSL pinnings, which will add on to the security layer securities, and then we will have our token storage in our uh, you can say keychain, and through keychain on the basis of token we will manage our login workflow, how our login page will render and all those things. First of all, I'll tell you what security really is and how security works. So suppose that I'll tell you, let's have an example of this is my login page. We have given our credentials as users and password here, and with the click of login button, I know my I'm pretty much bad in it, so please don't mind. So first of all we will check if the user is already exist in our DB. We will have a scenario which will be like, okay, user is already registered user. So for registered user we will directly go through login, otherwise we will go to registration page. Through there we will have it like, okay, write your login ID, password, confirm password. Then we will have it like, okay, it's done. Now button, on click of button it will pass a request to a backend. Please uh, I am a developer, I'm not a good designer, sorry for that. So backend will do their all process of checking, okay, is that user who is doing the authentication process is a correct user or not. And on the basis of that, backend will give us a token, which token that we will have it. On the basis of token we will do our operation like, okay, now we will be either in home page, and if the token is correct, otherwise we will back to the login page if it is a failure. And another thing, refresh token has also been given, and we used to check every time we are uh, every time we required our token to be refreshed after a span of times and all. Now coming upon man in the middle attack problems, which arises in scenarios like, okay, Now we will understand what man in the middle man in the middle really means, and how it really works, and how to avoid that. So basically what man in the middle used to be is, if you are having a API call, suppose that you are hitting an API with URL session, and then on the basis of that we are getting the response from backend. Okay, so sometimes what happens in between these process, when we are hitting the APIs through URL session, there what man in the middle comes under picture, and what they will do is the kind of request you are, although iOS used to provide HTTPS security, that is its own ATS, which you can enable it through your project. Here you can go directly, and then in info you can add your securities and all. For ATS you can just directly add it from there, but adding to way more to it, like you want to add it more security over it, then you can have it as a certificate security, which will be like your SSL approach. In SSL what we will have is, like, we will first of all, through SSL what we will do is, we will get some certies, and then with the help of that certi we will do our we will check our APIs, like it is the genuine API which we are hitting, or it is something which is given by or it is something which is not from the authorized backend or authorized client. So how SSL pinnings works and everything I'll explain you, and then I will explain you the flow. So let's get started. So first of all I will explain you the basic what network call. We already made a video over it. I will just go through the codes so that it will be a bit easy for you to understand what the things are, and then I will explain you the SSL pinnings, and then JWT token on the basis of like the token we are getting it, and then we are storing it in our Swift data and all. So let's get started. So this is our in network error, which will have the possible scenarios through which the errors can appear on our screens. So it's a enum, and then we have a network light. Network light has a confirmation with a protocol and with a endpoint, and endpoint is nothing but the kind of response you are getting. Then the path is your URL, then the method, either it will be get, put, delete, whatever methods you have with query parameters, and then your authorization is the main thing which we have. Now coming upon our means, we are checking every time as you want authorization to be checked, or you want to bypass with a bool of like true or false on the basis of that. Now coming upon our basic network repository network class, where we have our session and then decoders. This will remove your underscores from your models and all, which you create, and do the JSON parsing after that. Now, here, first of all, the main thing is in our SSL pinnings, we required our user URL session delegate to be taken care first of all, and that that's what we are doing here. We created a enum, and in that enum we have a function make session with URL session, which is conforming to our URL session delegate SSL pinning session delegate, which is conforming to it, to our delegate. Now let's jump to this. Now here what we are doing is, that is the main and the very important part uh, of our SSL pinning. First of all, we are having it with our security, confirming it with your security, and then confirming with foundation and all, with URL session delegate and NS objects. Now this is getting the public key. That is the most important thing you have to have. Is either you can do the SSL pinning with the help of certificates or with the help of keys. When you are doing one, keep one thing in your mind: when you are doing SSL pinning on with the certificates, then every time you are building it or releasing it for your builds and all, then you have to update your certificates and all. So which required continuous update in this class. But if our public key always remains same, so what we used to do is, like, you can download the certificate from certificate. Then what you will do, then you can come to certification extraction. From there extraction, you can extract your public keys from there, and then you can create a you of a .der file, and then you can drag and drop that der file in your project, and then it will, you can give the path to it, and from, and that's it. Now there is, this is called the option. Option is like uh, what kind of public key encryption you are supporting with. It's either RSA, there is some ECSA. There are these are the keys which basically separate the kind of public key your certificate is having. I will show you the other one also. Now coming upon now coming now you will get your public key. This will return you the public key. Now there is the main function which is handling and showing the errors if it is not a trusted person, and if it is a trusted client, then it will pass it uh, as a true value, or as a trusted value. So what we are doing here is, like, we are comparing our service key with the public key, what we are getting it from a certificate, uh, with the function with did receive with authentication challenge. And here nothing but, first of all, we are calling our authentication methods. Inside that method we are getting our service trust. Through service trust we are getting our service keys. From our service keys we are just comparing our service keys. If it is correct, if it is same, then we are making it as a authorized client with the authorize authorize URL. And if it is not true, then we are throwing it a error with this cancel authorize suggestion change. Now coming upon, again I am coming back to our network layer. Now our session is conforming to our SSL pinning factory. SSL pinning And now directly in our function body, we are, first of all, we are having a make request. Now coming upon make request is the, okay, so this is our make request, which will be having our base URL with path, the query parameters and all that I already explained you before in the previous video, how authentication, how to design a network layer. You can go and check there, but still I can explain, no problem. And if it's okay, this is like our base URL got added in our URLs and all raw values. It is like either it's a get, a post, and whatever the methods you are calling up. Now coming upon the endpoints is the main thing here. There we are using our token, storing of tokens and all will come under here. So what we are doing here, that is what is required. So in our, if you go to endpoint authentication here, which is supporting our token, now if we are getting the token, then we have created a keychain for storing the data, what we are getting it from the backend, the token, and to use it. So see, this is the basic keychain class with security. You have to import security and all, and then it's a basic singleton class I created with two values as access token and refresh token. Then our save is what we are saving our tokens, and refresh token what we are getting it from the backend on the basis of key and values. Then we are getting those tokens from these functions which will return our tokens. Clean is what we are cleaning our all the data on logout and all. Now coming upon save here, this is basically we are saving the value for the particular keys on the basis of their access tokens and all, like on the basis of their access tokens, or either a refresh token or whatever the keys you created on the basis of that. And get function is nothing but we are getting the data, we are converting it to the string format, and then to use it in our, either you can use if it is required for a view and all, not access token. There are many things which we use to save in our keychains, so that you can do here. And this is a delete operation for the particular keys and all. So here you can see we have our access token, and then we are authorizing it, and then we are returning this request. Soon this request got returned. Now again we are coming back to this line. Now we will have our data and response. Data and response is when all the URLs and all and everything is done. We added our endpoints, we added our you can say methods with get or post and all, and then access token confirmations and all. And then here we will have a simple session. Why we are calling session? This session is now confirming it with our SSL pinning, SSL pinning. So directly our URL, normally what we used to do is like we used to confirm it with URL session delegate with URL session dot data, but here no need of that, as we are confirming our URL session with session delegate with our SSL pinning here, SSL pinning session delegate, and then just we are giving our request passing a request with, and the response which we are getting is data and response. Then we are validating the response on the basis of HTTP response, and this is the function which we created for validation. Validation. If it is HTTP response, then well and good. Otherwise, it will give an error, and the response should be within 200 to 299. Otherwise, it is a failure. Either 401 or anything will be there. Now, there is a very interesting part which comes under picture is a refresh token. Now, if our response is 401, means we have to update our, we have to check for our access token. Maybe there is something which is like I got expired, access token got expired and all. So there we created a refresh. We are now refreshing our access token here. So now coming over this line. Okay, so first of all it will get the refresh token from the keychain. If it is well and good, no problem. Otherwise it will show the invalid response. And then here again we are doing the entire process in this. Here we are again checking, and we are again hitting the you can say again hitting the URL for the refresh token, and then we are storing the refresh token and all there in our keychain. So here basically we are passing our URL, and then it is a post URL. It will be set it, and then it will give the response. What our URL request response. Then again we are hitting the our SSL pinning, means we hitting our API with SSL pinning integrate, means I can't say integrated, but you can say intact with it. And from there, if it is we are getting the data successfully, then well and good, we are getting the data. We are then decoding the data, and then we are saving it in our keychain. So now let me jump to see. This is our response what we gonna receive. So that will have with access token and the refresh token in it, and this is what our request, this is what our login request body and body look like. We means this is our email password you're gonna give. This is the path. Method will be post query as of now null, and required authentication currently we keep it as false. Now soon our refresh, whenever our access token got denied, our refresh token will be up to date. Now coming upon the login screen, from here is features. I just created a basic authentication. I didn't add much over here. We have email, password, user profile as one of those. If it's a successful login, then I'll create a user profile. Otherwise, mm, it will go to user profile, otherwise it will not. And then here's our error for the errors which we are having, and then a name and all. Now we have our network client. Now coming upon our screens, so this is our registered and login and logout. Three functions we have here. First of all, so our email will be what we, if if there is a success login, then we are saving the email in our default, and for it will be up the very next time when you are logging it again, then your email will be be there as a autofilled value, and get it set how we used to do typical user default manager with the key and their values and all. And here registered endpoint will be there with name, email ID and password, and then we are saving the response what we are getting in our as request. Registration is the very first place where we are registering the user, and then we are doing the login. Then we are saving the response of the the token what we are getting it to our keychain, and then we are updating it our email as it was a successful login, and then we are hitting another API, means we are redirecting it to profile endpoint. This is a profile, it's a get. And now as we are authorized user, means now you are logged in successfully, so you are authorized, so our bool value becomes true. If everything was working fine, then our profile will get the data response as user profile, otherwise it will receive error. Same will happen for the second times and onward login after logout, as we are passing it our email and password, and email and password to our login endpoint. Nothing much after passing the email or password. Then there is a typical API method we have to do the as currently it will be false authorization, and query parameters, it is a post API. Response will be same as login response with access token and refresh token in it. We are saving the response in our particular you could say particular keychain with access token and refresh token, and are updating the email, and then calling the profile endpoints and to redirect to the profile screens and all. And then after that I'm having my logout function where I am cleaning all the data which is there in my access token uh, on refresh token and everything in my keychain, and password I am cleaning, and then I'm making profile as nil. Now coming up on login screen, as of now currently my login screen is not having that much uh, things in there, means I'm just having the screens for my registration and my, you could say I you can say there's a button for login or registrations and all. uh, it will have an object of authentication view model, which will have a name, email ID, then secure field. This will check the registration. First we have to register, then we have to log in, and then if profile is having the value here, what it is saying is like if everything works well and it will be true, then only we can see the screen, otherwise we will see the errors. And surely we will see the errors because I need a backend support for JWT, as backend needs to provide me the token. I didn't have a backend code here, but this will work 100% fine in our app. Let me run again. See, I will write like Ganesh. iOS at the rate iOS dot Ganesh at the rate G. It will give me error as backend needs to 1 2 3 4 confirm it. First I will register it. See why I am getting a cancellation. That is very much what you have to understand is because of not with my SSL pinning. This is more with work needs to be done with my token, as I'm not getting the token, and because of that, because we don't have the code for the don't have a code for, and actually we are not hitting the backend. That is the best way I am saying, I should say, as this URLs are not correct. In next video I will make a backend for it, and then with the correct URL I will hit the correct API, and with the correct API should have the certificates. For those certificates, either you can go to like GitHub. No, not directly here. GitHub. No, not Dexter. Only github.com. Well, let it be. See here in securities, you can get certificates from there. This is your SSL certificate. You can export it on clicking of here. After that, what you have to do is you have to go there in your finder, and then there is a certificate extraction. Yeah, here you have to write your credentials, then it will open for you. Let me type mine. Sorry. Oh. Then you have to drag and drop your certificate, then you have to or either export it, the certificate you download it from here, and then you will get a public key for it. After that you have to save that, you have to download that with a .der format, and after that, that will be your public key. And then I'll show you. I think I have one. Yeah. So this, so you can see show public key. So this is my public key. I have to download it, and after downloading it, then in der format, and then you have to drag that file in your project, and you have to drag and drop it to your main project, and then things are good. You are good to go. And then yes, there is one more thing you can add. Now you have to come here in info playlist. Now you have to add app tr transport settings, security settings. You have to confirm this, and you can provide a value to it here as for your security. It will be a dictionary, and that's it. You are good to go. You just confirm your app with ATS, Apple security, with your SSL pinning, and that's what we required for most of the security of our app. Let me rewind the things quickly. From the certificate, you have to extract your public key, then you have to compare with did receive authentication through URL authentication. You have to confirm your public key with your service keys, as your if your server key is equal to your public key what you are getting it from the client, then you are authorized URL. You are hit authorize URL, otherwise there is someone in the man in the middle, means you are not authorized URL, and you are not allowed to hit the API with the query parameters and JSON and all. And now this is our network manager. Here what we are doing it, I will wind it up very quickly. We are not we are just in here. First of all, we are checking our base URL and all, and with the method, either it will be a get or post or and all with our authentication, and then if everything work fine, then we are passing it in our session with including SSL pinning, and then we are validating the response what we are getting it, either it's a correct response which is HTTP response, or it is not. If our response is a valid response, then we are good to go. If we are getting a response with 401, then it means we have to hit our refresh token, as the token got expired, something happened in token. So in else condition, we are maintaining a refresh token. Nothing. Okay, in refresh token, we are not doing anything. We are just, first of all, we are checking the token, and then we are hitting the API for our refresh token, and the data what we are getting it, we are saving it with updating it our keychain, and that's it. So if you like this video, please support me, and in the next video I will add or authorize URLs for backends, and how token you is to get from backend. And I will I will uh, use Swift for the backend codes and all. And thanks for being with me, and have a nice day. Bye bye.